The Insight NBA team is in the arena, bringing you the ultimate play-by-play on who's hot and who's not to help you win your leagues and dominate your mates. You're now hooping with your hosts, Matty G, Skitty, and Mally for the Insight NBA show.
G'day everyone and welcome to the Inside NBA show. This is the weekly preview for week 13. I am your host, Matty G at NBA GWiz, and you can follow us for all things at Insight F Sports. As always, make sure you click a like and subscribe. Before you go any further, it's like a thumb. It's a little thumb icon down below, as well as a subscribe to get notified when our content drops right throughout the course of your week. Look, week 13 means we are well and truly on the way and also looming up in fantasy land on trade deadlines. We've got a special trade target show coming very, very soon. I've got a couple of special guests jumping on for that one. But as I said, let's get down to it. This is the weekly preview for week 13 in ESPN and Fantrax. It is still week 12 in Yahoo. We will get some sense of normality back very, very soon. Sure, but let's get down to it.
He's heating up.
Look, indeed, it is heating up, and the course of the action this week is good, all except for one day. There are a bunch of quality games, but the big day that we need to look out for is Wednesday with 11 games. We have a lot of streaming options available for 6 and 7 on Monday and Tuesday, respectively. As I said, 11 Wednesday. Thursday is 5. Friday is 9. Saturday, 6, and capped by 7 games on your Sunday. It is a greenish day. It's not orange, it's green. You can stream in with 7, but then again, there are days when there's 8 or 9 teams that play. I had one of them last week, and I took a screenshot of it. I had no players available. The only one guy I had rostered, here we go. I know it's not much. Nothing. No action. The only person I had who could have played, who was out injured for that game, was Trey Murphy. So that absolutely cooked me. And then with the postponements this week, there's snowstorms, there's wildfires. It has been a crazy week. Week 12 in fantasy, but it is time for week 13. And I'm going to get straight to it with this one. I am going to give you some of my targets for the week, and then I'm going to justify them instead of say this for the end. I have a whole bunch more targets, but these are some of the guys that I've pulled out already. I've got Jaquez Jr., Jovic and Ware, Dort and Wallace, Klingon and Kamara, Dylan Brooks, Bub Carrington, and Kaishawn George as well. A little bit sleeper ones on those ones. Probably easier to get into teams than some of these other guys, but I'll touch back on them at the end. These guys, I think, do have a bit of value this week. So let's go through the teams with 4 games for the course of the week. We have the Nets, the Bulls, the Nuggets, the Rockets. Now, put asterisks on the Clippers and the Lakers here for very good reasons. We have seen, obviously, the postponements of their game with the Fires in Los Angeles. Now, although they are getting slightly contained and that's moving in a positive direction, it still doesn't mean that they are going to play. So these 4-game weeks, again, could go by to 2 very, very quickly. Let's wait and get word for them. We've got the Heat, we've got the Bucks and the Timberwolves all going for 4 games this week. Also on 4 gamers, we have the Thunder, 76ers, Trailblazers, Spurs, and Wizards. The funny thing about that for the 76ers games, this is one of my big core notes of the week. The 76ers play 2 sets of back-to-backs. So it's going to be, I'm intrigued to see what happens with Joel Embiid. Does he just randomly play an extra one as they make their push? Gershon Yabusele has been getting those minutes there, played really well last week, has been finding some form, filling in that role. So I definitely think that we could look to Gershon in this one as well. There's 3-game teams: Hawks, Celtics, Cavs, Mavs, Pistons, Warriors, Pacers, Grizzlies, and the Pelicans. Also, the Knicks, Magic, Suns, Kings, and the Raptors. There's good news and bad news. There are 2 teams this week, here's the bad news, that have 2 games, and that is the Hornets and the Jazz. They only have 2 games this week. So you guys like LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Mark Williams are going to take a hit. Larry Markkinen, he's already going to be possibly out for the next game for the rest of the back-to-back on Sunday. We'll see what that plays out with. John Collins has been away for personal reasons. He's coming back in. Let's just get our updates on these guys, but you can only expect 2 games. The good news is there's no 5-game week teams. So generally speaking, when there's some of these 2-game weeks we've had lately, there's been a couple of 5ers. And if you're going up against an opponent like one of those weeks where you've got 5 games against Nikola Jokic and you've got LaMelo Ball on 2, you feel that pain straight away. Now, again, 2 is a lot worse than that. But then again, we do have a lot of these teams going away very soon from the 2-gamers. So there is a spattering of them to come, but not as many as we've seen in previous weeks throughout. This brings us to the back-to-backs. Now, we do say that you want to finish your week strong. So if you're looking to stream and get that win in week 12 and move into week 13, you can get a little bit of action on the Knicks and the Wizards. They finish Sunday and Monday, but you can probably get rid of these guys, and we'll talk a little bit more about their schedule a little bit later on. You don't need to ride them because we're going to move into the back-to-backs then for Monday and Tuesday, and there's none here. So you can make the most of that and then tactfully move into some Tuesday, Wednesday action from any of those teams, from the Knicks and the Wizards. Tuesday, Wednesday, we've got the Hawks, the Nets, the Bulls, the Mavs, the Nuggets, the Bucks, the Pels, and the 76ers. Wednesday and Thursday, you've got the Rockets and the Clippers. Before Thursday, Friday, there is just one team you can get some action there on, guys like Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort in some leagues is available for your Thursday, Friday, and then work towards your weekend. For the Friday and Saturday, you've got the Celtics. Now, this means the back-to-backs again. In deeper leagues, we're looking at guys here like Luke Cornett, because we know that Al Horford isn't going to play. And they keep on playing Horford and KP in the same game because they're very happy to roll out there Luke Cornett in the next game as the starter. So that's where him or Coitz gets some extra run. Good old Coity. He's getting some action in these lineups as well. So let's look for that back-to-back set later in the week for the Celtics. Cornett there, Sam Hauser. These guys, if they rest their big guys. We've got guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who become really interesting targets for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know Donte DiVincenzo, for example, absolutely went 6 ways to Sunday, exploded today. Now, he had been playing well. They've gone down very, very narrowly to the Memphis Grizzlies in today's game. But these guys, as I did, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a pick up there. Naz Reid available, but DiVincenzo almost hitting a triple-double means that he's probably well and truly gone off your waiver wire. And it was probably, to be fair, definite 12-team league territory before this. But when you get 27, 10, 7, and 2, that just comes out when you're in the starting lineup and just stands out like merry hell. And this has entrenched him in here. Mike Conley coming off the bench and still cooking for these guys. This was one here that I was surprised to see him play this well, which means he is not going to be on your wire. In fact, if I was to look around his waiver wire ability right now, I'll do it right now. I know it's just clicked over to the brand new day in Yahoo leagues, and it's not going to be probably easy to get, but I'll look in Yahoo straight away to see his availability. Here we go. Here we go. This is going to be good. And I'm going to see this. This is probably where he's gone up straight away. Donte DiVincenzo live. 3%. Look, not bad. 66% rostered. So I usually say 70% is like, don't even look for it. He's gone up 3, which means he's been at 63% rostered. He's now at 66% rostered in the past 24 hours. Get in on Donte DiVincenzo quick. I think there's really good value there. He's not a streaming target. He's a guy you want to move into your team really, really quickly. You can, as I said, move on to other guys on the waiver wire there, like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Saturday and Sunday, the 76ers, again, as I said, Gershon Yabusele, probably going to be a big beneficiary right there if Joel Embiid sits. Trailblazers and the Wizards to cap off your week. The bad news is there is no Sunday, Monday. The good news is that means you can consolidate as many of your streams that you need to win your week this week and not worry about getting a little bit of a cheeky advantage into Sunday and Monday of the following week. Now, the schedule is a little bit wacky this week by some ways. Now, there are a bunch of teams, though, that I like, and this is what I'm going to get. Like, my suggestion with the streaming is this. I always love finishing the week strong. So back to this. Let's say I do get one of those Knicks or those Wizards players. Let's say I've bought in Champagne from, the Champagne that's not in bloody San Antonio. We're talking about the Champagne that's over in the Wizards. So let's say I just draft him in there and I pull him up. Great. I've got him in my team. I'm trying to get some extra juice off the waiver wire. He's been getting minutes. He got 11 minutes and 20 last game. 11, 2, 1, and 1. Cool. I've brought him in here. I've brought in Keyshawn George into my team. These are the guys that we're looking at. The Knicks is more of a campaign territory. It's pretty hard to get a streaming option there. But let's just use the Justin Champagne rule. I brought him into my league. I'm trying to go for wins. Or I brought in a Bub Carrington. I brought in a Corey Kispert. He sucked the last game. Maybe you didn't want to do that. But let's just say you've got him. You can play him for that Sunday and Monday and get that juice for the end of your week and the beginning of your Monday. Then we can move on to doing the stream nights. And let's look at the schedule here. The heavy day is Wednesday, which means you're probably not going to be able to easily stream in a quality game then to take advantage of that. So it's the guy that you're going to drop off, the worst player in your league, like the person who you've bought in right now, that first move that you've made for Justin Champagny. You can ride him for the Sunday-Monday game. You can drop him off at your car park, and then you can target to use someone on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, where you have a lot more Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, where there's more availability in your roster depending on how your build is and who you need to bring in. So I had some questions like, can we target that and then move on? Because think about it, if you've made that one move now for that one spot, you haven't even made an ad for the week, which means your first ad of the week, you've got one ad to cover you all the way up to this until Thursday. So you're basically getting one game Monday, 2 games Tuesday, your Thursday game, you've got 3 games off that one ad. You're finishing off, that is 4 games off one streaming spot. That's incredibly good value. It helps you win a week. It helps you start off this week. And there are a bunch of teams that we can target in there because there are these Tuesday and Thursday teams that we can bring in, forgetting about that we could use some of these guys and forget about that. So Tuesday and Thursday players, we want to have a look at this week. Now, those are guys like Ty Jerome, Max Strus available on Wise, Dean Wade, if he's possibly in there, Isaac Okoro getting minutes for the Cavs. The Pacers, we are expecting Naismith back this week. For the Thunder, I mentioned Dorton, Cason Wallace before. And the great news about these guys is with them, you can get action on Tuesday and Thursday in this week for them, which we love that for them. We've got the Suns, the Trailblazers, and the Kings as well. This is all really, really good use to take advantage of that action. Because what we want to do is we want to maximize those spots that we come to. The other way of doing it is getting in there and getting the Tuesday, Thursday, Friday action. And the only team this coming week that plays on the Tuesday, the Thursday, and the Friday, you're getting a maximum there of 3 games for that one ad, is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They play 4 games this week. Their games that you can use for them are the Tuesday. So again, bring in a Justin Champagny. Again, it's let's call it the popping rule. We don't want to just bring him into our team. But let's say here's the wizard that we want to bring in, or that we do bring in. We can bring him in, and then we can look at our roster, and then we can bring in one of these guys like Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort if he's available in your leagues. We want to bring these guys in to our team. We can then deploy them on the Tuesday, the Thursday, and the Friday, and then we can use Saturday, Sunday. Now, if we already have that roster spot, that's 2 ads that covers us for 6 games, basically over the course of the week. Because our first ad, we never used it in the current week. We're using it in the existing week. So we're being really strategic to make the most out of that back-to-back and then move on from there. I think it's a really good strategy to do it, especially with those guys, because they do have value, especially a Lou Dort. He's been playing well of late, so is Cason Wallace and Isaiah Joe. But these are the guys we want to look to get a little bit more juice out of that to make the most of our waiver wire. And again, with the course of the week and where the schedule breaks, there are a few waiver targets. So let me just pop these early targets off.
Target acquired.
Kind of have my eyes set, and this fits into that schedule, especially with the later in the week with the Wizards, as I said, and the Rockets in these back-to-backs on the lower volume game days, so I can get those quality of the games. This is where I've got guys like Jaquez Jr., Jovic, and Ware all been playing really well in Miami because this is the week that Butler is still out for. Dort and Wallace, I've mentioned. Donovan Clingan. There's been a bit of a injury hassle with DeAndre Ayton. He missed the last game as I'm recording this. He just missed today's game. He went down in that one. Donovan Clingan obviously got the start there. Now, it wasn't really that justified for Clingan. 8 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, 4 from 6 from the field. We love that. Didn't take any free throws. That was also good for us, but a really nice ad there. Timoni Kamara continues to start and do well. 10 rebounds today, a huge outing from him. We love that ad. Dylan Brooks in Houston, I feel icky for saying it, but he has moved into that territory lately of playing really well enough to be rostered in these spots right here. Bub Carrington and Kaishon George, we're bringing in these fringy guys. If we have to in a pinch, we can look to guys like Kismet. But look, we're probably looking more for a guy like Bub Carrington if we can absorb that field goal percentage, who can contribute across the board. Otherwise, we are, again, bringing in guys like Champagny, whoever used that one. We've broken down the schedule. We've had a look at these guys to make the most use of our roster. Let's talk about injuries and where we can get a little bit of a look for this week across the league. Yeah, in Atlanta, we'll start it up at the top as always. Look, it's been a shame. JJ, the big man, Jalen Johnson, he has missed a bunch of games recently with his sore shoulder. That is continuing on right now. So let's just continue to monitor that one and pick up the wire where we can. But he is obviously still a hold, and we are stashing him. Now, the big news in Boston, they're fine. But the big news over there in Brooklyn is that Cam Johnson, he is still out this week. Cam Thomas is still about to miss another week. Derek Whitehead is questionable. He's in concussion protocols. But D'Angelo Russell is also out of Sunday's game. It's been announced as well. That's a shin injury. He'll be returning. It's also against the Jazz, and they both want to suck. So I can imagine why they're not in a big hurry. This is where we've found some absolutely great juice on the waiver wire for those ones. And in the Monday must-add show, make sure to check that one out. And also make sure you check out our good sponsors, friends, the Standard Squeeze, to get 15% off all of your gear from them. Their code for us is IFS15. Make sure you make the absolute advantage of that one to get 15% off all your travelers, your coolers, and your 4-in-1s. And don't forget about our brand new range of fantasy gear. The link for this stuff, it's limited edition, is all down in the link below. I Heart Fantasy Hoops. All the cool kids are doing it, and your loved ones just don't understand. There's 5 shirts in the collection, awesome tees. You can get them, cop them right now. The link for that one is just down below. All right, back up to it and into that injury report. In Chicago, Kobe White is questionable for Sunday. He has a cervical sprain. Dosunmu is doubtful with his shoulder strain. He'll be probably making his way back into week 13, which is going to be really good. Oh, by the way, I mentioned Charlotte positively because there's no injury reporting out of Charlotte currently. So we're all okay, well and truly there. In Cleveland, I mentioned him earlier as an ad for this week for the Cavs for the back-to-back. It's Ty Jerome. Now, he's sick. He's listed as questionable because of illness, which means that he's probably not going to be picked up on Sunday, which means he's probably going to be available on your waiver wire this week, which is a good shout. Now, Kyrie Irving, now he is back and he has been doing shooting work on court. So he's been practicing. Now, he was going to miss 1 to 2 weeks. He's missed 1 week as this week, so we could probably expect Kyrie back in 13. This is where guys like Quentin Grimes may take a little bit of hit. I think Spencer Dinwiddie takes the biggest hit. I think Quentin Grimes continues to cook in that role, filling up Luka's absence. He's been a really great asset for that team of late. I think he continues that run for a while longer. So let's really enjoy that from Quentin while we can. Jamal Murray is questionable for Sunday versus the Mavs with a knee issue, and also questionable that game, Aaron Gordon, who has been out recently as well. Things are going well in Detroit. No injuries to report there. Where is in Golden State. Now, Steph Curry missed Friday's game with the Pacers. That was injury management. Draymond had a sprained ankle for that game. And Andrew Wiggins. Now, he's been out for personal reasons again. Now, I just want to, all personal things aside, I hope everything's all right with the guy. We saw him take an extended absence last time because of personal reasons. So let's just monitor that one really closely because he has been playing well. A guy who went undrafted in many leagues this year is actually really returning well for his owners. On the sidelines for the Houston Rockets has been Tara Eason. Now, we mentioned he is a pickup maybe later on if he comes back into there. Obviously filling in for Jabari Smith Jr. Cam Whitmore's been the stream here, but let's just keep our eyes on Tara Eason because if people are going to drop him, we are absolutely picking him up. It's all good in Pacers Town, Clippers, and in the Lakers. Nothing really to impact us there. Now, in Memphis, Marcus Smart, he is still in rehabilitation for his injuries. He'll be undergoing more testing this week, and we can see him week to week. So let's not expect him back in week 13, but if he does make to your wire and he comes back and gets those minutes ramped up, we could probably look at him as a potential target or streaming option in week 14. Miami. Now, we've got 2 more games, as I said earlier, with Jimmy Butler being out. So we're looking here again for those. I mean, Highsmith has been a little bit disappointing, hasn't seized it, but Khalil Ware's been doing really well, and Jaquez Jr. are the ads there. Gary Trent is questionable in Milwaukee for Sunday, whereas in Minnesota, Rob Dillingham is out with a sprained ankle. In New Orleans, now DeJounte Murray, he is questionable. He had an elbow issue. I think it was tendonitis there. In the meantime, CJ McCollum has been absolutely popping, and pretty much we can see Herb Jones being out. This bloke this year, there were high hopes for him getting this, going to be the starting center and tenured. He's got a labrum tear. Now, he's probably out for the injury. This injury is probably going to keep him out maybe for the rest of the fantasy season. And I don't expect them to rush him back with what's going on in New Orleans, to be fair. And I think Trey Murphy takes a massive bump again here. The Knicks, they are all fine and dandy. But in Oklahoma, we still have issues with Alex Caruso. He's going to be out on Sunday. versus the Wizards. And AJ Mitchell there, he is going to be out pretty much for the rest of the season. Not that we were really drafting him in for fantasy. Anyway, Jalen Suggs is going to be out on Sunday with the Sixers, and Howard is questionable for that one. Good to see Paolo Banchero making his return to the court this week. Questionable for the Philadelphia 76ers, who I mentioned earlier, is Joel Embiid, whereas Kyle Lowry is still out indefinitely. Royce O'Neal, unfortunately, is still on the sidelines for the Phoenix Suns. He would be a great add this week, as he would be eating it up with the departure for Yusuf Nurkic from the starting lineup over there in Phoenix. Whereas in Portland, the Saturday game was missed by DeAndre Ayton. Donovan Clingan was there. Robert Williams was still out. This is where Clingan got that bump. And Jeremy Grant is still on the sidelines. He had that facial injury, so he has been out, whereas Matisse Thybulle, probably a trade target for a lot of teams. He hasn't played, and he's going to be reevaluated in a couple of weeks' time. Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox is questionable. Good news for Foxy Fox fans. For Swiper, he is possibly coming back in on Sunday after that glute contusion. In San Antonio, Jeremy Sohan missed the last game due to back soreness. In Toronto, everything is good. The team is back, and they really pressed the Pistons today. That was a heck of a game, and they lost that narrowly. John Collins has missed the last 4 games with a hip injury, and then he had personal issues. Now, he is doubtful for Sunday. We can probably expect to have him back into our lineups in 13, which is good news for Collins owners. This is what the kind of shenanigans when Collins was riding high that we worried about. I still think he is a great prime trade candidate, and I've definitely held him into an IR spot. He has been excellent and exceeded expectations. Let's say not excellent. He's been very good, and he's exceeded expectations, has Mr. Collins, and I see it continue for that very, very soon. Johnny Juzang has a fractured hand. He is back without a timetable here, whereas Larry Markkinen and Keontae George, they are doubtful, probably because it's a back-to-back set, and they want to get an excellent draft pick. And obviously, Bryce Sensabaugh, who we all loved, we probably saw him get sick for 3 games for a reason. He played really well and didn't want him to get out there and roll out those wins too much. He could probably be returning into the lineup after being questionable with his illness. And then Malcolm Brogdon, he is going to miss Sunday's game against the Oklahoma City Thunder with the plantar fasciitis contusion. So he will be out for that one. Guys, this is the Insight NBA show. Week 13, it is wrapped up in a tight bow. Get out of here. Go and get it. Go and get your wins. We'll catch you soon. See you later.